Yeah, let's do it.
Hit the ground running. It's wonderful to meet you, Sandra. Thank you so much for taking a minute out for the show today. I appreciate it.
It is a complete pleasure and an honor to be here, Joe. Hello to
On
your listeners.
Yeah, on my end as well. So I want to begin with this. It's something I always start with, and it's the COVID question. 6 years
Hmm.
ago, this whole pandemic changed our lives, changed so much. How did you get through that era, and how has it changed the way that you approach things today?
I love that question so much. Well, it changed it dramatically for me. I was not one of those people who, like many of my friends, who were like, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to write a book or I'm going to do this. I was on the ground writhing with sadness because all of my theatrical work, my musical work, of course, like all artists, went poof. I'm an interfaith, a seminary trained and ordained interfaith minister. And so I have a wedding business, and all of those, of course, went poof. And I just, it felt like the rug had been pulled out. I, of course, understood that it was a time to go deep within, and that we were collectively being called to do that. But it didn't change the fact that I was grieving a lot for all the things that I had lost. Finally, after writhing for about 9 months, I birthed the idea of turning my one woman show, The Edge of Every Day, which was a combination of my performing background with my blossoming ministry, meaning sharing spiritual ideas through entertainment, through comedy, through music. I crafted it like a ritual and invited people in to experience it however they wanted to. So that being said, I was dusting it off and going to do another run with new songs when COVID hit. So I turned it into a podcast, and I started that in 2021, and it changed my life immeasurably
Yeah.
and really called me forward into sharing my voice in an even bigger way than I was doing within the context of this solo show. I've made great friends with the people I've had on the show. I've gone on to other people's shows, made great friends with them. It's just been fantastic.
So, being in the entertainment world, isn't it amazing how wonderful this podcasting world is? Were you surprised that
Totally.
once you got in, you actually found the unicorns and rainbows you were looking for?
Oh my goodness gracious. It was, first of all, I had the idea, and I just, the second it landed, I was like, I don't listen to podcasts. I don't know anything about podcasts. But I do know that in COVID, everybody's becoming a podcaster, and we need another one, like we need a hole in the head. And I said that to my friends, and they gave me great advice that I would have given them. They said, listen, Sandra, you have a perspective that people need to hear. And if five people listen, if 5,000 people, if 5 million people, it doesn't matter. Just do it. Go for it for you. And I said, that's brilliant. I'm going to take it. And it, it, in terms of just aligning your message and really getting clear on the comfort level of sharing your opinion on what's happening in the world and what you love and what you want to unpack and how you want to hear the stories of other people. It's been, yeah, like I said, changed my life
Yeah.
immeasurably.
So let's get into your world of coaching and creativity. And I want to put you in
Mm.
front of a 13-year-old crowd. You're at a schoolhouse, it's career day, and the kids want to know what you do for a living. How do you synthesize your daily existence to make sense to their brains?
Oh my, I love that so much. How would I synthesize that? Well, I would say that all that I do and how I like to move in the world is all about helping people tell the story of their life. How you like to talk about what it is you do, what you play, what you write, how you deal with your friends. I help people like you to uplift those stories, to share those stories with other people in a really interesting way. And I do that through all of the tracks that I have. I'm a interfaith minister. I'm not a part of any organized religion, but I believe in all of them and I support all of them. And I want people to share their story through what they know about their relationship with the great mystery of life. I like to, in acting, I get to tell character stories, and hopefully, the people that are watching, like you watch TV, like you go to a live performance, like you would relate to what they're sharing. And I do that in all of my coaching too. I teach people how to tell their stories a little bit better, make them a little more fun, a little more energizing for everyone. Did you
So
notice I talked to you like I was talking to a
yeah,
13?
exactly. No, and that's what
So
happens.
great.
That's what
Yeah.
happens with this. It almost turns into an acting class. So when you were that age, what was your dream gig? What did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, I love that question too. I mean, I popped out of the womb singing and dancing and acting, so that was always, and I played the violin. I started when I was 6. I mean, I was always in that world. Did I consider it professionally? I was not one of those people that I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be a movie star or whatever. I didn't, it wasn't. I considered being a vet. I considered being going into business. I considered being a professional basketball player. I'm really tall, and people, of course, as a female, somebody handed me a basketball, whether I wanted one or not. But as I got older, I couldn't imagine not going into the arts, because it's really how I view the world. It's through the artist lens and the creative lens. And I consider that around my spiritual inquiries and curiosities as well. So it just made sense for me to go into acting and drama, and I thus went to Carnegie Mellon. I'm from Pittsburgh, and I went to Carnegie Mellon University, which is a great conservatory, theater training, acting training, drama, and music. I went to New York and began my career. And then it was in my mid 40s that the call of more service leader really landed on me. And I enrolled in interfaith seminary, not knowing at all what being a minister would be about, particularly since I wasn't a part of any organized religion. So it was a world that really bust open for me. Um, and then I combined the two into my company's Sacred Stages.
I'm always so interested in the vibe of Pittsburgh. When I was a kid,
Mm.
I had to decide on a Monday night football game bet, and I landed on the Steelers. And I always wore Steelers stuff when I was growing up
Oh my
because
God,
of
I
that.
love that. I still have a terrible toe. I
Yeah.
have my parents' terrible toe.
So and also yeah, and also too, Fred Rogers is from there. Mary Lou Williams.
Yes.
There's such a legacy and lore of what was it like growing up in what was it about being in Pittsburgh, the
Mm.
family, the friends, everyone that was around you that imbued you with this idea of creativity and spirituality. What were those seeds?
Well, we moved to Pittsburgh when I was just before my 10th birthday. I was not born there. I was born in upstate New York. My parents were both from there, and they took us there and moved us into a school district that had an extraordinary drama, creative arts um, feel. What would you call it? Field. All of the middle school that I moved into, the elementary school that I moved into, I could play the violin in an orchestra in middle school and conduct that orchestra. And we got to high school, and it was the same thing. I mean, the money that they put into the support of the arts in the school district was extraordinary. People would come from miles and miles to see the plays and the musicals. Our choir went to New York City to record an album. Hello.
Yeah.
It just was extraordinary. In terms of how Pittsburgh itself, I think I, I think there was just a vibe of, it was a very vibrant time in Pittsburgh. It was stepping out of its blue collar roots and its sort of dirty steel town kind of vibe, and was moving into this more vibrant cultural, the medical world took off there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
In sports at that time, when I was young, my parents had tickets to the Steel. We went all the time.
Yeah.
And it was a vibrant time in sports as well. But, the arts really started to explode right around the time we landed in Pittsburgh. And by the time I was in high school, it was happening musically, theatrically. Um, so I think, I had great places to go and connect with other young aspiring artists, and I could learn from lots of different teachers, lots of different mentors. They were very available and easily accessed.
So, do you remember the first thing that you created that you got a visceral response from somebody and you kind of were confirmed that the creative path was for you? Was there a
Uh,
moment like that?
there are many moments like that. The first one that pops to mind was I did my first play when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
And I don't remember the name of the play. I don't remember the name of the character. But I do remember the epiphany that I had standing on that stage, looking out into the spotlight. I remember this distinctly. I turned and looked into stage left, backstage, turned and I looked right, off right, looked back out at the light, and I felt that being on stage was more real to me than real life.
Wow.
And can feel that moment in my body to this day.
Wow. I think about that had to have been spiritual because,
Totally.
growing up in the Midwest, we get kind of fed and not in a bad way. I'm not bagging on it, but like organized religion, people that are in it from the word go just kind of get indoctrinated into the Bible and doctrines and all of these deities. But
Yeah.
we don't really understand that until we become ourselves and we grow into our own skin. And obviously,
Mm.
being a spiritual being, was that one of the first moments that you grabbed on as your own self and realized the power of something greater than yourself and spirituality?
No, I also popped out of the womb with the antenna. I was
Okay.
the kid off in the corner with the antenna that could read the energy of the room. And I was fascinated with churches and all the iconography of all the religions. I was seeing and sensing energies and presences, and I had a mad fascination with cemeteries. I was into it for as long as I can remember. So I didn't separate that. I didn't have that moment when I had that epiphany on stage. I didn't go, that must be like a spiritual calling.
Yeah.
It was normal to me already.
So, I've heard different people explain their views on spirituality. Ethan Hawke had a really good perspective at one point, and there was a part
I
of it.
love him.
Oh yeah,
Love
I
him.
know. He's amazing. And he got real deep. Keanu Reeves has also done it too. And the way they explain spirituality brings a level of comfort. It's kind of like Joseph Campbell. There's such an intellect that goes into how they convey their ideas. And I think sometimes, as much as spirituality brings comfort, I think there's a part of us that don't have enough of our brain opened up. We don't use enough of our brain to be able to conceptualize the enormity of what is really happening around us. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
the idea of the matrix and all of that. Do you feel like sometimes that most of us have we just don't have the intellectual capacity to understand the enormity of it? I mean, we can in our own way, but if we could
Mhm.
just open up 10 more percent of our brains, how much more we would get.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there are some people that are committed to not opening their brains. They're
Yeah.
committed to that. I want to belong to this tribe, and if I say anything against it, or if I start to work on opening myself up, then I'm not going to belong, and that's going to be scary. I think ultimately, I don't want to diss on organized religion, but I just see it as being very controlling and very much about, keeping women down, very much about the control of people's thoughts and not about life on earth as a human being.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about what's going to happen then afterwards, and I'm not sure enough. So I'm going to believe that I'm going to stay in this because I can't get I can't wrap my brain around or get comfortable with more than intellect, get comfortable with, not knowing,
Yeah.
that liminal space of not knowing. And I think those of us who can get comfortable with not knowing. I mean, at the end of the day, I have all my beliefs, but at the end of the day, I don't know until I go. Um, you know, I'd like to believe that, I'm energy in this body. I had on my podcast, The Edge of Every Day, I had just recently had on and I have had a few on, she's a past life regressionist and a spiritual, a psychic, and helps people through um, crossing over the veil with conversations with people who have passed. And she described it in such a delightful way for me about the idea of that the body is the being is so vast and only a portion of the soul incarnates into the body that we're in now. And I found that absolutely, well, first of all, I was not at all surprised by the way that she described it, but I found the comfort in the way that I'm sure all of the clients that work with her have a sense of comfort in that idea that the energy just gets transmuted back into this vast world, the vastness of the mystery of life. But again, to get back to, I want to enjoy my life as a human being, as a spiritual being in a human experience.
Sure.
I want my feet on the ground. I want to feel connected to nature. I want to feel in connection, interbeing with other species. I want to know that we're all interconnected, that my actions affect, I'm looking out at my little pond in my backyard on my Catskill property, that my actions here affect the ecosystem that's out there.
Yeah. Yep. I totally get that. So, who's been your inspirational force that's allowed you to be creative, to help others through coaching? All of the good work that you've done, who has been that hero for you?
Um, Probably my mom.
Yeah.
My mom, as we say in Pittsburghese, my mom. um, she was my first and foremost inspiration and largest. And she was my greatest fan and my greatest cheerleader. And she, came to all of my shows and really just, she looked up to me in a way that, spiritually, in a way that was really profound. Um, and I have a great story to share about that. When I was in my first year of seminary, my mother had been struggling with cancer. And in my first year of seminary, she really went into the last decline. She had done all the drugs and taken all the medication and finally just decided that this was not working and she was going to let the process happen. And she asked me to be the minister at her funeral.
That's amazing.
So it was an extraordinary ask. The beauty of that and the pressure of that was enormous. Um, it was such a gift, and we planned it over the course of that year. I would go down and when I was monthly, go down and spend a few days, and we would plan it. And we wrote it together. We wrote her obituaries together. We did all sorts of rituals around who gets what jewelry and what clothes do you want. I It's extraordinary. But and I when I recorded The Edge of Every Day, I had a CD release party in New York City at the then Metropolitan Room, which is no longer with us. And I did a tribute to her because it's like she birthed me twice. She birthed me as a creative human, and then she birthed me as into my spiritual leadership. And yeah, I would have to say she's the biggest.
I love it. So, if you could have one dream guest on your podcast, anybody on the planet, who would you love to interview right now?
Dead or alive?
We could do a ghost.
Excellent. It would be Jesus.
Okay.
I would love to hear what he has to say about what's going on here on earth in his name.
Yeah, I would too.
I,
I would definitely
I
too.
mean, it would be stand-up comedy, I would think. I
Oh,
would
I would.
hope.
Yeah, I think it would be. It would have to be. I've never seen anything funnier and more tragic, but yeah,
Yeah, I know you have to laugh, or
yeah,
else you just be writhing on the floor.
you'd be crying. So, what is the energy for you every day when you wake up and the sun hits the earth? What is it that makes you want to create and live and be hopeful and be who you are?
Oh, such a great question. I think it's just I don't know. I feel as though and I've felt this my whole life. Really feel like I have a mission.
Yeah.
I came to the planet. In fact, my mother even told me on her deathbed, I might add, that she told me the story that she had never told me ever. That I marched into the kitchen with my hands on my hips somewhere around the age of 3 or 4, and I told her I'm here on a mission. I literally said those words to her. So I feel inspired to contribute. It's not to say that I don't have down days or don't want to roll up and hide with what some of the challenging things that are going on in the world right now, the soul crushing things that are happening in the world. But I also feel like I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
And, I incarnated for this party. So let's go. It's time to lift up our voices. I lift up other voices. I lift up my own, and I share it in the world.
So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into the 18-year-old version of you, and
Mm,
you walk into the room right now at your age, and there's a film projector, and you click play, and there's a 60-second highlight reel of the life you've lived, the choices you've made. Would that young version of you believe your life turned out this way?
totally,
Okay.
totally, with no regrets.
What would be the highlight of that 60-second reel?
Probably now.
Yeah.
Probably now. I mean, I really dig what I'm doing. I mean, certainly the edge of every day was the solo show was extraordinary, but I've had many theatrical and career extraordinary, seminary ordination, many moments that were fantastic. And the edge of every day is truly the solo show and Into the Pod is truly a great accomplishment for my heart. To get that outlook out into the world. But I think now in because I've honed my story and my message and my heartfelt mission and am sharing it in such a large way. This is the best thing. This is what I'm here to do. And this I know. I'm
So,
getting full body chills, Joe.
yeah, I love it. I love it. So let me ask you this. You're an adventurous soul. If you could get
Mm,
into a time machine and go back in time and see one event in human history, where are you going?
mm.
What do you want to see?
Oh my. What do I want to see? I it's odd, but I what flashed through my mind was the crucifixion.
Yeah.
If indeed it happened, I thought about the Boston Tea Party, just ran through my
Yeah.
mind. I thought about, I would love to witness my mother's mother, who died when I was very young. I have really no memory of her. I'd love to see her for a day in her house. Um, but another big event. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've touched on some good ones.
That's wonderful. I love it when the answer goes back to like a previous generation. My father was born in Brooklyn, raised in Long Island, and he came to Kansas City to see the world in the Air Force. And
Mm.
he actually, so he's been gone for a long time now, since '08. He left his life story behind on cassette tapes, and we didn't realize it. I found him in a side drawer, and I was like, "What
Oh
is
my.
this?" I pull it up, and he got spooked by someone that died about 3 or 4 years before, so he left his story behind. And there's a story about his grandmother Collegida from Naples that made him a yam. They were so poor she would cut a yam in half and bake it. And he said it was the most wonderful thing. And I never ever heard him in real life tell me that. I would love to go in that room and watch his face when that yam.
Oh my, yes.
Now, you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
those
Yes.
moments, those familial moments that we could have never seen because biology won't allow it. It's like,
Yeah.
but it would be great to see it. So let me ask you this. At the end of the day, at this point in your life, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, fans, everyone that knows you in a business sense, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I am an inspiring, courageous person. I think that I inspire myself. I know I inspire myself. I know that I inspire others, and I call them forward to courage. I know that I can be a very polarizing figure. I can walk into a room and, instantly people really like me or people are triggered by me, and I'm down with that. Absolutely fine with that. I am at an age where I kind of don't give a fuck, and I am willing to have my own opinion and to share it. And I'm not afraid if we disagree. I'm good with that. As long as my human rights aren't violated, I'm down with that.
Uh-huh.
Um, all those things.
So well said. So if anybody's ready to dive into your world, all the wonderful work you're doing, where's the best place to
Hmm.
go? How can they do it?
Best place probably is my website, sandrabargman.com. Everything is there. You can go to Magic Thread Media, which is the network that my podcast, The Edge of Every Day, resides at. You can stream it anywhere you want, and I'm also the resident voice presence and storytelling coach there, and you can book a 20-minute conversation to find out how if working with me would be beneficial to you. You can go to my YouTube page, Sandra Bargman, on the edge of every day. I'm on all of the social media, so you can find me there. And yeah, and you can reach out directly also on I have a contact page on my website.
Okay, I will put all these links in the show notes. Sandra, I should have wore sunglasses. You emit so much wonderful light. I absolutely have loved this. Thank you so much for taking a
Oh,
minute out. Thank you for your spirit. You're the person in the room. You remind me of my cousin Maria. She lived in New York and she took me to all of the hip places back in the 90s before the towers went down and I got a Bukowski reader, we had sushi, we did the whole thing. It like you embody that spirit of adventure and wonder, and I love it. We need so much of
oh,
that, especially in these times we're living through. So keep on igniting and changing the world. It's been absolutely wonderful to meet you.
thank you, Joe. Thank you so much. Wow, what a compliment. It's been an honor to be on your show and to speak with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.